UNPAVED, Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.
To me, Tom Brady is the GOAT because he's done more with less than any player at that position we've ever had.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into Thursday, November 13th already, Sean. I mean, we are just a couple weeks away from Thanksgiving, one of the best days of the year where we just get to sit and eat and watch football. We've got a ton to talk about today, a lot of football to talk about today, NFL and college. Make sure you go like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at UNPAVED there. Make sure you follow Sean at Sean Unfiltered, me at Adam G. Sager, the show at UNPAVED on Rumble on X. Go to all your social media platforms, like and subscribe to the show there. Sean, we got a lot to talk about. It's another day where I guess the right way to word it is we're forced to watch the New York Jets play football tonight. You know, they just keep putting them out there in these type of games, and Justin Fields and company is just a rough watch on offense. But on the other side of the field, we get the New England Patriots, who we all know the lore of the Patriots over the last 25 years with Belichick and Brady. Well, now it's Mike Vrabel and Drake May at the top of the organization. And Mike Vrabel's impact on this team has been felt quickly, and it's a very strong impact, and it just makes you wonder, what the hell were the Tennessee Titans doing letting this guy get out of the building? Even with the struggles they were having with the bad team that they put on the field, you knew this guy was a really, really good head coach in this league. Kind of put him in the same level as kind of like a Dan Campbell type head coach in the NFL. What has his impact been on the Patriots since getting to New England?
Can't measure right now. And you ask, well, how could Tennessee do this? Well, look at Tennessee.
Yeah.
What the hell have they done in the last however long? I understand. Well, you know, when Tannehill was a quarterback, when was that? Okay. Hell, you know how much has changed in that many years since a guy, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it's been since Tannehill was the everyday starter, something of that sort. And they stripped him of good players. Injuries they took away. They're trading good players, traded his wide receiver, the tight ends. I mean, they did everything. They moved them out. So you expect them to work miracles. Well, I got news for you. There's a lot of miracles happen when the good Lord gives them to you, but you got to have players. It's like somebody saying, I want to win Powerball.
Right.
Oh, but you don't play the numbers. You just think they're going to hand you a Powerball check. Well, Mike Vrabel for the Tennessee Titans and now for the New England Patriots was Powerball. And then fortunately, the smart move is that the Patriots did, and it's been a smart organization for a long time with a few flaws in between. First off, Vrabel has Josh McDaniels, who's been a great offensive coordinator in this league, as one of the great assistants, but they did something smart. They went and got Drake May. They went and invested in a quarterback in the first round. Now they invested in quarterbacks even when Brady was there in the third round or the second round and used them as assets. But they went and got a coach who would maximize the player's talent. And now they're starting to build it slowly, but they're winning fast. This is why there's only a handful of impactful, I'm talking about difference makers. And we're going to get to the Atlanta Falcons, and you're going to find out the difference in why one wins immediately and why one doesn't. Everybody at the time, if the Tennessee Titans were smart, and I know that too many chefs in the kitchen becomes a problem, but if the Titans were smart at the time when they were going through the Vrabel stuff, check with everybody else and how hot a commodity Vrabel would have been. And I don't want to hear anybody say, well, he sat out last year. How hot was he? Sat out because he knew the timing was going to be better. He needed to get away from it. But what's the big deal? take a little time off, and he got what most of us would consider. If you were to say, Sean, look around the league and pigeonhole a guy into a team that fit him perfect and he fit them perfect, it's the New England Patriots. Aside from the fact that he played there and was highly successful, he just has the feel of a city and Boston's a tough town, that can take the tough approach, that can take a guy who gets it, who played tough, expects more, and demands it from his team. There's an accountability factor. There was in Tennessee until they stripped him of players. And I don't care if Andy Reid had average players, they'd be well coached, but an average football team.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Jones is an average on defense. Thanks, Spagnuolo will tell you that. When Spagnuolo was coaching the Giants defense, they were pretty good with their front, right? They were pretty good. He had good players. There's a common thread between good players, Segs, and the ability to win championships. Now, they're a long way off, or at least from sustaining great stuff. This is their first year, quarterback and Vrabel. I get it. But the impact that's been felt so quickly tells me that they can sustain it because they're going to commit to building around the quarterback. But they got the two elements you need. Well, three, a front office that has always had a good idea what they want to build there. Right. They went and got their coach, and they got their quarterback, and the quarterback first. So Vrabel stepped into a situation where he didn't have to who are we going to get? Got a guy, and the guy's getting better, which tells you that the coaching staff and Josh McDaniels, and don't just give all the credit to Vrabel, who I love and we should give credit, but let's make no mistake about it. When we see coaches get hired, yeah, great, but look at the assistants before you start to make any prediction on how good they're going to be. Go get their buddies and go get guys who've been on 47 different places. You're probably going to get 47 different results. Go get guys who have been successful and that you trust that can handle it and that he can focus on being the head coach, an eye towards defense. He's got an offensive staff that, quite frankly, maximizes, and wait till they get even more weapons. So they're doing great things with it. It just tells you that organizations at times aren't real smart. And I got news for you. The Tennessee Titans are a lot dumber than the New England Patriots when it comes to understanding. Look at the trouble they had before it and look at the trouble now they're having after it. And they're going to have to go find another new coach, right? Find another coach that Segs has to be prepared to hire to make sure that Cam gets the love that he needs, meaning the proper coaching. So coaching does matter. The Jimmies and the Joes will always trump the X's and O's. But when that head coach understands X's and O's and understands how to maximize the Jimmies and the Joes, that's when you get a great football coach. And Mike Vrabel right now is the NFL coach of the year, in my opinion, at least in the AFC right now.
Yeah, they sit 8-2 in the AFC East, atop leading the Buffalo Bills in that division. And this is a team that, when you look at their roster, they were not set up to win this year when you just look at the roster. But yet they're finding ways to win. The quarterback's developing at a high level, and we're seeing this team take off earlier than we expected. And like you said, wait till they get more weapons. They went out and brought Stephon Diggs in, and Vrabel's the exact kind of coach that Stephon Diggs will respond to. You know, he had some troubles in Houston and last couple places, but we haven't heard anything. He's just out there running his routes, catching the ball, doing what he needs to do to help this team win. So I'm excited to see what this team can do. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's the Patriots. We can't have them winning again all of a sudden. I'm like,
why?
Well, no, they built it because everybody hates, the Belichick and Brady.
Oh, you mean they hate winners?
They won.
I heard that enough
times.
here
Yes.
in Houston, Segs. I heard it enough here in Houston. And when you were here, they said the same thing. We don't want to do it the Patriot way. Well, then you're fucking idiotic. Okay. Then you're a fucking dumpster fire if that's what
right.
you know. Now they've gotten better. I'm talking about at the time they were saying that, right? Well, they went and got Caserio and finally got a Patriot guy who, when you allowed him to do some things, got some good players, find the right coach after a few one and done hires. But they went and finally got a guy who understands the Patriot way. The reason they judge the Patriot way, you know why? Because of, Vince Wilfork, who was at the end of his career but was still good. But the main one was Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien was the Patriot way for what, a year or two? Good gracious, stop it. The Patriot way worked for 20+ plus years. You want it to be the Patriot way. You just want the right Patriot leading the Patriot way.
Right.
But hadn't hurt the Texans. They built a pretty good team doing it Casario's way. And, oh, by the way, Nick Caley, I know their offense isn't where it's supposed to be, but they apparently went the Patriot way that way. So the Texans are getting smarter, and I love the way that their franchise, the ownership has turned the corner after all that shit that they, put themselves in. But back to the Patriots. Yeah, I don't want to do it the Dodger way. Oh, yeah, I absolutely want to do it the Dodger way. If they're going to let me pay and there's no salary cap, I'll pay. We'll go win and buy a chip. Do you think anybody this offseason, one Dodger, is going to apologize saying, yeah, I know, man, we're not that good. They paid for a lot of great players. The object's to get great players, and great players cost money. The key is finding a horseshit franchise that doesn't want to pay for it because the rules allow it. Yeah, it's all great to do it the Kansas City Royals way and win it that way. And, man, there's a lot of pride taken in until you can't do it that way anymore.
Right.
All right? So then there's the opposite. You go to the Angels, you go to die as a player, and you give money away. And the biggest theft in all of sports right now is Rendon at third base. I mean, it just is, and he's had a good career, but not there. So they do it. You go to the Dodgers to win championships, and people can complain all they want, but we all want the Dodgers payroll, Segs. Why? Because we can go get great players. Where your backup shortstop could be starting for a lot of other places. So with the Patriots, yeah, you want to do it that way as long as the guy that's doing it that way is a guy you respect and know is a good coach. His impact on an organization that, quite frankly, talent-wise right now, and I'm not diminishing their skill set when you compare it to the other top teams in the league, quite frankly, with a young quarterback who's still on the learn and playing MVP football, the Patriots have no business being 8-2 right now, and they are the best team in the AFC East. Make no mistake about it. Now, Buffalo may beat him but put it this way. Drake May plays good. Josh Allen plays average in a game. And we see the New England Patriots are a better football team. Now, Josh Allen plays like Superman. They're better than anybody. So this Patriot way is the right way when you got the right guy doing it. And I would venture in a private blindfolded vote, Segs, go around the league, talk to GMs and talk to people that they don't know how you voted. Say, give me your 5 or 6 best coaches in the league. That dude's name right there is on it with Andy Reid, with Sean McVay. Some would throw Kyle Shanahan. Even though they've got Super Bowl, they keep winning. There's plenty that would throw in a John Harbaugh. You would get, you know what I'm saying? Say you would get the certain group of guys. But Mike Tomlin would be in there. That guy's name would be in there. And the New England Patriots got the right guy since Belichick, and they got the right quarterback since Brady.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that they got it right there in New England. We'll talk about the Thursday night game later, Jets-Pats. I don't think this is going to be a good game. I think the Jets are brutal. I don't even want to waste time on the Jets.
Why would we give them that love, Segs?
Exactly.
Listen, it's in New England. Put it this way: what we'll be talking about tomorrow, it won't be it won't be a hey, look at the Jets won a game. If the Patriots lose this game, it'll be how dare them lose that focus and allow that shit to creep in that they obviously didn't get ready. And here's why I trust. I don't know what the score is going to be, but I trust Mike Vrabel has given him that very speech that when I played in New England, we'd go down to Miami and it was warm and they'd give us fits, right? Or we'd go to New York. So the preaching of understanding that all you got to do is go to last week. How do the Miami Dolphins beat Buffalo? And if you're Vrabel, show a few plays from that game just to send a message. When you're not ready to play, an inferior team kicks your ass. And make no mistake, the New York Jets are as inferior to most teams in this league. This should not be close. If we're coming in here tomorrow and talking about the Jets, and I wouldn't waste any more time talking about it either because it's slop. If the Jets go win this game, somebody on the Jets had an out-of-body experience, and the Patriots missed the friggin' team bus. Okay? Simple.
Yes, it will be our bet of the day later as Thursday night football. So we'll make our picks with the spread and all that later in the show to end the show. We're talking about good organizations. You mentioned it, and when you were talking about the Patriots, let's turn over to a bad organization, and that's the Atlanta Falcons. I just want you to listen to what Michael Penix, the quarterback, had to say this week talking about the sidelines for the Atlanta Falcons.
I know you lean on your faith, but who do you lean on to help you? We haven't played quarterbacks. Would you lean on a former quarterback or your coaches to kind of just help you kind of assess things? And good and bad?
You saying like as far as on the field?
Yeah, both.
Stuff?
Like, that help you mentally and physically.
Oh, no. Like mentally, I like my fiance. She's always there for me. So I know whenever I get home, it doesn't matter how I played. She's always gonna be there for me. She's gonna have a smile on her face and give me a hug and make me feel good no matter what. But as far as like physically the on the field stuff, it's not nobody that I'll talk to like as far as another quarterback or anything like that. I do have people reach out to me. I do have quarterback coaches though back at home that reach out to me as well. Tell me, hey, like you need to clean this up, clean that up, and everything will be good. So those guys help me as far as that too. So I can shout out them.
I'm going to tell you something, man. You want to know why we have, I'm not just talking about Penix, around the league and this. You want to know why we have shitty quarterback play? Or when I say shitty, Penix is a very talented kid. I love him. And overcoming 2 knee injuries and what he did at Washington, love him. This is such an indictment and an embarrassment for the Atlanta Falcons. And for a first-round quarterback that you invested a draft pick in that you didn't even need at the time because you had an $80 or $100 million quarterback. That's how the regard you held him in. Development is part of your job. If this is true, the Atlanta Falcons should be fired on the fucking spot today. And if a backup quarterback, Kirk Cousins, isn't helping, and it would shock me because he's a great leader, shame on him that they're not having conversations on the sideline. That guys like me sitting at home and my quarterbacks that I train, I'm calling, clean this up. That they're the ones that got on the sideline. He has nobody to go to. His fiance for the mental side. If we have a bad game, she loves me, of course, on the sideline. So he comes over there and looks at it and just kind of on his own. What a friggin' embarrassment. And you wonder why across the league, and we say it all the time, that play is average. Look, oh, Sean, what about the play of Lamar? We're not talking about the elites, okay? I get that. But even those guys, Mahomes has had his struggles, even when their offense was struggling at times, and he's coached up and does it well, and they're always talking. Josh Allen. But Josh Allen had to be coached up early in his career too, Segs, and he's getting coached up now. If it's good enough for Tiger Woods or Jack Nicklaus to have a swing coach or a tennis guy to have his guy out there coaching him in a team sport, are we serious about this? If this is true, and I don't think Penix is lying, but if there is no communication going on those sidelines, and he has nobody to turn to, but a dude watching from his living room at home say, dude, clean this up mechanically, then this is coaching malpractice. This is an embarrassment. And, if that's the case, then you wonder why the Atlanta Falcons are, thank goodness for Bijan Robinson and Penix. And thank goodness for the players that keep them a little bit afloat. Because if you're not having communication, this ain't like some high school coach, which they should be doing anyway, that coaches the guy and doesn't help him further his career when it's done. He just to call a coach, make a simple call, write a letter for him. Oh, you're done with me. We're moving on to the junior who's going to be your quarterback next year. He does have that responsibility. If he doesn't think he does, then he doesn't do his job right. I digress. But in the NFL, this is your career. This is your job. This is a CEO, manager, salesman. You got to be coaching the coaches, and the coaches have to be talking. And that doesn't mean getting in his ear and micromanaging every friggin' series. It means to be able to turn to, why did this happen? Why am I can tell you this, if that is happening, call me up. I'll come and work for you. I'll take half the money you're paying the guy right now. And Michael Penix and Kirk Cousins will play better football just on communication alone, let alone the attention to detail that the toughest position in all the world of sports has to have. I didn't say the toughest thing to do. That ain't hitting a baseball. The toughest position to play consistently great in this league, in any sport, is quarterback, because of all the accountability of 22 players, and you got to get the ball out in 2.5 to 2.75 seconds to a moving target, dealing with blitzes, understanding what all 22 do every friggin' play. No wonder if this is happening in other cities, you guys better do yourself a favor before your quarterback bus tosses you, and he should have bus tossed your ass. And I usually don't believe in dirty laundry. And I don't think Michael Penix meant it derogatory. I think he just kind of thought this is the NFL way. He was so humble about it, which tells me it's even deeper than we might think. If this is going on in your city and you're in the media and you're a fan, or you're in an organization, or you're a quarterback and they're allowing this, sell their bitch ass out, because they are affecting your career. They want you to go sacrifice and leave everything on the field and on the sideline, yet there's no communication other than you're looking at a still shots and looking at your computer to go over your surface, to go over what the pre-snap look like, but there's nobody there to walk you through it if you have answers. He's a second-year guy getting his first year of full season starting. And we're letting this happen. If that's the way you invest, you should go broke. Because if that's what you're doing on your investment with a first-round quarterback that you probably overdrafted, maybe he would have been drafted 12th to 13th, but where you needed him and you already had a guy, and I think Penix is going to be a good player. He'll never reach his potential in Atlanta if this coaching staff, if that's the way they're doing it, ever. He's got no shot to do it. So if this is what they're doing, I'm just going on Penix. I don't know, but if this is how they're doing it, and this guy's this deeply feeling this, and I somehow I trust Penix because, quite frankly, sometimes these guys are too honest, and this is honest. Shame on the Atlanta Falcons and any other organization that's doing it. I'll bet you $1 million at the way Stafford's playing. Dude, the way at this level of his career, as long as he's been in it, Sean McVay's staff is still coaching him up. You do know this, correct?
Right.
You do know this. Andy Reid is still coaching up, as is Matt Nagy, Patrick Mahomes, and communicating. And the backup quarterback on that team on the sidelines is still going over to him saying, whether it was Jim McMahon or Warren Moon, you're just another set of eyes. Sometimes they don't want to be talked to. But I'm talking about guys that are 35 and 40 that are Hall of Famers. And you're not doing this with a first-round pick in his second year in the league? This is disgraceful. And again, it's coaching malpractice. And the Atlanta Falcons will never maximize Michael Penix's career if this is the way they're going about their business. And if you're the owner of that team and the front office general manager, you ought to go down and take names and kick ass and start letting them know the bus leaves at 3 o'clock and your ass is going to be on it if you don't start coaching our investment in our first-round guy that we expected to be a franchise quarterback and be our guy for the next decade. Yep. Embarrassing.
I wrote down, when I was writing down about this stuff, I wrote down, where is Zach Robinson, the OC, probably sitting up in the booth, but you have phones that
and
communicate back and forth.
Zach's a smart guy.
But maybe he's just a good OC at calling plays.
Well, he's a new OC too, so he is a new OC, so he's working on his gig too.
Tim Burbinich, passing game specialist? Where is DJ Williams, the quarterback coach? Where is TJ Yates, another former quarterback, passing game coordinator? And where's Ken Zampese, who's been around this league for a long time, been quarterback coaches? He's an offensive assistant. Where and what are all these guys doing during the game that they don't have time to talk to their quarterback?
You know what I'm going to do too? Because Zamp's a buddy of mine. I've had some intimate conversations. I've known Zamp forever, and obviously his dad, Ernie Zampese, one of the great coordinators of all time. Right. Zamp is a great communicator. I'd like to know, because Zamp has told me some information about quarterbacks in the past that he's had, and one in particular. I'm going to leave the name out because I'm not going to sell the quarterback out. That he was shocked at the lack of passion or love that the guy had for the game. But Zamp's not a bust off, and Zamp's not going to immerse himself onto you if you don't want. Right. And part of this is Penix seeking it out. There's that little part of it, but your job as a quarterback, you're his subordinate. You go to him and tell him, the prop's sakes, you just mentioned all these offensive guys. Is there too many chefs in the kitchen there where you got 5 different guys saying 5 different things and none of them are talking to him?
Maybe.
Now, the coordinator's working on a game plan. Quarterback coach should be sitting next to him on the bench every time he comes over.
Agreed.
And even if you're not talking, you're at least listening to him so you can give him information and answer his questions. So Zamp's good. It's time for, you know what? Now that I just saw it today, like the rest of us, if Zamp, I need to get a hold of him because, and I don't know what Kenny'd tell me, but I love it and I trust him. And I imagine he'd dive deep. And if it was a quote from him, I'd let you know. But if I get somebody says, Sean, it's off the record, then I won't say it. But I can tell you this, that for us to be having this conversation in week 10 or 11 of the NFL season with a second-year first-round quarterback on a staff, and you know what? I understand that the coordinator's got to get Zach Robinson's trying to do his thing because Zach Robinson, who may end up being the Oklahoma State head coach at some point, because he played there, and depending on the regard they hold him in, and I hold him in high regard. But I know coordinators, once again, as I said before this came up, what did I say in the first segment? Josh McDaniels, a quarterback coach, and he's a coordinator, but the quarterback coach and the communicator who make sure that those lines of communication stay open and you're coaching them.
Let me ask you this.
And look at the 6 and assistant coach is so important. Why are they doing this? And why I cannot believe we are actually having this conversation for pros. Remember, I told you just because you get paid doesn't make you a pro. Apparently, that has to do with the Atlanta coaching staff.
You know, so you've played quarterback, you've coached in games before. As an offensive coordinator, would you want to be on the field calling plays down there on the field, or would you like to sit in the booth? And then the other side, if you're a quarterback, do you want your offensive coordinator or play caller sitting on the sidelines with you that you can come off and you talk face to face and say, knock this shit off. This isn't working. And this is the stuff that I think will work. And you can talk face to face, not over a phone where he could just hang up and then not talk to you. How do you like it if you're the OC and the quarterback?
For me, and for people, I got to ask this question on Twitter. In college, the OC is usually the quarterback coach. In the NFL, we have a passing game coordinator, we have an offensive coordinator, and we have a quarterback coach. As you heard Segs read him out, the quarterback coach is separate from the coordinator. They are individual guys. In college, because of the hiring of coach restrictions or whatever, however many you can have, the OC is usually the quarterback coach. With this, Segs, my personal opinion, one, as an offensive coordinator, whenever I've done that, and I have in All-American games that I've been the offensive coordinator at the Army All-American game twice, on the field. Somebody else up in the booth talking or on the side. I want to be on the field because I want that I want to see his eyes. I want to talk to him. But you put your right-hand man up there that can finish your sentences so he can see everything. The coverage. Right. Yes. And he'll say, hey, Sean, they're playing a lot of cover 2 or 2-man. Great. Then we're going to run 2-man beaters, right? Whatever it is. Right. I want those eyes. I need those eyes up there. And I got the surface also. As a player, I want Brian Billick was always on the sidelines. Tom Moore on the sidelines. Why? They wanted that communication as well. And you could get him. Now, it doesn't mean the second he comes off, you're going all Brian Kelly on him and sprinting out 5 yards on the field and cussing him out. Right. You need to know, and I get a better feel for the energy from a quarterback or from my coordinator and the game flow when sometimes I know I need a foot in my ass as a quarterback. And I know as a play caller that I need to put my foot in your ass and who can handle it. Jim McMahon comes to the sideline. You could cuss Mac out. Mac knew how to what to keep and what to discern, what information to keep, and you learn it, and what to blow away. Warren Moon wasn't that guy. You're not going to run and jump up on him and cuss him out. You are going to go to Warren and just have a calm conversation. Mac was just different, and they're both successful. For me, you can cuss me out, which I've been cussed out, or you can be calm. I don't need you every time after you throw a pick to come over. What are you doing? There's a way to do it. Oh man, let's see what happened here.
Hey, what'd you see?
And, of course. Yeah. Listen, that's the number one thing, Six, on the sidelines. I've always told quarterbacks. I said, if you're going to your high school coach or I'm your coach and you come to me and I say, what'd you see? Well, I thought I saw. Right now we're in an argument. Yeah. Just tell me what you saw. And then I can react, say, okay, well, remember on this, we're reading the Sam linebacker on a hook to curl zone. If it's not there, throw the ball to the check down. We'll tee it up or whatever on the bang post, outside leverage. Even if what you saw wasn't what I saw, at least I know you saw. You got the ball in your hand. I don't get to throw the football. I just get to call the play.
I'm calling the play.
I like a guy down there.
Execute.
But I also know some Segs coordinators can't handle all the chaos.
Right.
They go haywire. We all of a sudden think coaches are always poised. Your ass. They're up there drinking coffee, trying to smoke grits if they can, getting shit done, fiddling with all their stuff. Don't want anybody to talk to them. They like that view, and quite frankly, they probably don't want to be around the wrath of a player motherfucking them and go. You know what I'm saying?
You can always tell.
Right.
You can always tell those OCs because when they show them in the box, there's like 2 or 3 guys that's in there with them, and then there's other guys that have like 9 in the box with them that are throwing things at them like, here, look at this, look at that, you know. And so you could tell those.
And you notice the calm, or the guys that don't want around. Nobody's talking to them unless it's a successful play. Then they high five them. Other than that, there's nothing. But I want to know the energy. And as a player, I at least want to know, even if I don't want you to communicate with me every play. Listen, I yanked the ball, made the right read, just missed the throw, yanked it into the ground. You don't need to come tell me, hey, do you know you missed it low? Well, no shit, Sherlock. I can see that. Tell me. Now, if you could come up and say, hey, Sean, you know why you missed it, dude? That ball came out. You held on to it a little long, but you're right there. Great read. Because I always want to end with some positive feedback no matter what's going on. And I just don't get the fact is at least communicate. Motherfuck each other, cuss, yell, at least talk. I mean, what are we sending him in a room with padded walls and not letting him talk to anybody? Say, you're on your own, dude. And I can't imagine being successful feeling being on your own, like a corner and a quarterback, it can be an awfully lonely position, brother, when you're struggling.
Right.
But to know that I'm not, even if I'm struggling, that there's somebody's got an oar that they could give me that I could at least save the doggone dinghy I'm sitting in, right? Or the paddle boat, shit. And the fact that he's saying this and said it in such a humble, like almost as a way, Segs, that this was how everybody does it.
Yeah.
This ain't how everybody does it. So I don't put a blanket statement over every coaching staff, but if this is happening at other places, those quarterbacks and teams have no shot, dude. None. And then you got to be able to decipher down there when to approach the quarterback, when not to. But I at least got to know I got somebody to turn to. I got to wait home to talk to my wife if you're Michael Penix, and then a buddy calling me, or a guy who coached me in high school, or my private trainer in the office. If you're going to have the private trainer be the one who gives him information, then hire him as a consultant and stick his ass on the sideline so Penix feels comfortable. The fact that we have to talk about this is pathetic about a professional football team. I got news for you. Guess who's not making the playoffs at this stage doing this? Even if their record was, guess who's not going? Doing it this way.
Yeah.
Them. Okay. Make sure you know that.
Easily. Switching over to college football, big story coming out today. The Baylor athletic director and college football playoff committee chairman, Mack Rhoades, is taking a leave of absence from Baylor and stepping down from his role with the college football playoff committee because of an incident that happened I believe it was last month, when Baylor tight end Michael Trigg, who is a top 3 round pick, probably top 2 round pick, during a game was wearing a gold undershirt, long sleeves, a gold undershirt, while everybody else had on green. And Mack Rhoades took that wrong. I guess maybe they had discussed it as a team that they weren't going to do it and weren't going to wear these. Well, he was wearing it. He grabbed him. He cussed him out. Really went at him hard, I guess. And this was all reported by Outkick last week. This all came out, and then an investigation started, which is always funny to me because it takes a media outlet to get a hold of this information for the university to start an investigation, which is, just how this world works now. But so now you have the college football playoff committee chairman having to step down because of this. And where does the committee go from here? Hunter Yurachek is being nominated as the next guy. He's the Arkansas athletic director. But what do you just take from this situation with Mack Rhoades?
I think there's major conflicts of interest, and this is two-pronged. One is, as the Baylor AD, why are we not having this conversation in private? Right? So this conversation took place where, Segs?
Right on the sideline.
For God and the world to see, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even if you didn't agree with it, the play you're getting into this, why couldn't you wait till you went in and get this handled? Did you get what exact time of the game? I'm trying to remember, Segs, when I saw last week. What exact time of the game was this? Was it first half or second half?
I want to say early in the game.
That's what I thought. So let's say we're going through this and you wanted to do it away, and one guy was wearing one thing and everybody else wearing. Why couldn't you wait till halftime? You're focused on the game, which is the most important. Then go in and make a switch. There's no rule that says you can't change sleeves, whatever it is. Why not? Why would you even be that distraction on the sideline in a game? That's number one. So as the Baylor AD and the communication, well, if you're supposed to be a leader out in front of stuff, you ought to be the guy that understands how to handle this. Even if the player or the coach or anybody else or an administrator on the sideline, there's a time and a place to air that laundry, and it ain't with every camera on you. That's number one. I don't know what's going on in Mack Rhoades' life outside of football or committee. Maybe there's something else that triggers all the nonsense. I don't know. But as the Baylor AD, you're held to a higher standard. That's one. This goes deeper. I'm going to say it again. I'd like to know, and I don't care what anybody says, human nature kicks in when you're talking about your own conference. You're talking about that. We're going to let a guy, he's taken a step aside as the CFP chair. I'm sure Mack's a good guy. I'm sure he is. Had a moment, whatever it is. Why is the athletic director of a Power 4 school the committee chair? Why is he in the room? And now we're going to replace him with quite possibly the Arkansas. I've had a problem with this forever. If I'm the Arkansas AD, well, it's all about character, and we're putting the care. And I've heard people talk. I think Greg Sankey, when I interviewed him, Segs, earlier this year, talked about part of that. And I asked him this very question about the character and integrity. Yeah, well, Class A had character and integrity until somebody offered prop bets. And now I'm not saying this is a betting thing. I'm just saying I understand values and character and integrity and going through it. But I'm quite sure some of our most successful people have had some character problems along the way as well. So my thing is, why do we have, you're telling me that of 300 million people in a whole bunch of universities, why couldn't you be an athletic director from a non-Power 4 school that's not,
Right.
or somebody who's not even going to be in the playoff? Why can't it be North Dakota State's athletic director? Why can't you take a former player like Randall McDaniel did, or we had a Condoleezza Rice on, Condoleezza Rice on. Why can't you take people that have no skin in the game? Well, Sean, what about if they went to school? Well, somewhere it's got to stop, right?
Right.
But why can't you find 13 people that have zero affiliation with the Big Ten, the ACC, the SEC, the Big 12, and the outside conference? It's not Power 4, okay, to make it simple for people to understand. I just don't get it. So this is two-pronged. The Baylor situation, they're going to have to handle whatever's going on in Mac's life and whatever happened on the sidelines. You got to be better than that, and that's got to be behind closed doors. On this side, why are we – so we're going to replace a guy with another AD on a team and in a conference that is right there in the thick of it. Well, we got 12 other people. Yeah? Well, guess what? If you're a good leader and you're a good negotiator, what do you think when they go into a jury, Segs, and you're deliberating? You get a powerful voice in there that's trying to change votes, correct?
Yep.
To what he believes or what she believes. So we got to act on integrity. I'm going to tell you how you prevent integrity from being a problem. All 13 people should have zero affiliation in their professional career with any of those conferences, period. I can't stand it. And I don't know why those guys do it. Whether you like Mac Rhodes and he's a bright guy, all these ADs are smart, okay? But I just don't like it. And I don't know why we continue to open up this can of worms and we just kind of let it slide. Like we just assume everybody's got the best interest of the kid in mind.
Right.
Bullshit. And you and I both know it.
Yeah, that's one thing that they're going to have to consider changing. And it did come out today from Chris Vanini of The Athletic that new allegations from that came forward very recently about Mac Rhodes not involving the Michael Trigg incident that I talked about, not involving, it sounds like something outside the school, to be honest, which played a part in this the leave of absence and the stepping down from the college football playoff committee. So something to keep an eye on and see if Baylor isn't looking for a new AD here in the coming months. Also in college football,
I got a sport management degree, Segs, from A&M.
There you go.
I'll go. And I love A&M, but they got an athletic director, my guy,
yeah.
Trev Albert. So if they want to interview, I'd be happy to do it. And I promise you, the fighting and scratching won't happen to you. The disagreements will happen behind closed doors without you having to dress somebody down. The whole thing I don't get. And like I said, I don't know where the he said, she said part of it, but this just reeks of a lot of problem, man.
Yeah, it's something worth watching. Also in college football, we had Michigan State. They are vacating 14 wins from playing 3 ineligible players from 2022 to 2024. Started with Mel Tucker, who just robbed Michigan State of $90+ million or whatever it was he got.
Mel Tucker is the equivalent of Anthony Rendon without the injuries.
Yes.
I don't. Mel Tucker, you talk about legalized theft, dude. Oh my, dude! I'd like to know what led to a $95 million contract or a $100 million contract. And I respect Mel, but good gracious, dude, you want to talk about stealing money.
Yeah.
And well, now we look at coaches who are there now get their wins stripped from them too.
Yeah.
They had not a damn thing to do with it.
Is another guy, Jonathan Smith, who was supposed to come into Michigan State and turn them around immediately, brought his quarterback from Oregon State and Aiden Childs, and supposed to be this great offense, and they haven't done shit, including 0-6 this season in the Big Ten. It's funny to me as a Michigan fan that sometimes you'll see the hat in my background. We sat and listened to Michigan State fans and Ohio State fans for the last 2 years being like, oh, the hammer's going to be dropped on Michigan. You're going to lose all these wins. You're going to lose your national title. You're going to vacate wins. And who's the one vacating wins now? it's Michigan State. So I find it funny.
And how much
it's
how much of that money did Mel get?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and really look.
Was there a clause? Was there a problem because of this coming down the pike? Did he surrender some of that contract, Segs?
Maybe he did.
Like a conduct detrimental type thing. You know, I don't
Yeah.
know. But regardless, while he was there, he was getting paid, and obviously wasn't doing it the right way, and the school's punished for it. They not only get hammered that way, but they get hammered with everybody else too, Segs. Because I mean, every kid. Can you imagine being a high school guy? And you come into there and you're like, man, I was playing I was playing at the high school in Ann Arbor, getting ready to go to Michigan State with some of this stuff happening. How am I getting hammered for this?
Yeah.
That part that the kid suffers for a grown adult's mistake. Now do that math. In the society, typical, right? I confess it's somebody else's fault. Did they get into Mel's bank account and ask him for some of that back? Because if you're stealing, you might want to, you're stealing. Sometimes you got to pay it back. Like if you rob a bank, we want that money back, and you're going.
Right.
This one, Mel was able to pull the old okey doke on some coin on that gig, and then it was 95 million worth. And I'm not real sure at this stage of the game how much of it he got after all this, but I know this. I would imagine Mel collected a good part of that money, at least part of it when he was there. So. Yeah, I'm with you. That was theft all the way around.
Tough times in East Lansing for the Michigan State Spartans football team. Very tough times. Switching back to the NFL.
And Tom Izzo keeps chugging along with Michigan State Spartan basketball, dude.
He just keeps doing his thing, right. and
he sure does.
Just keeps winning. Just never a national title in 25 years since his one.
But anyways, counting? You know what I'm saying? Who's counting though, right?
Back to the NFL. I saw this. AJ Brown, he is not happy with this Philadelphia Eagles offense. He said, basically, if you have me in fantasy, get rid of me. Basically, also saying that you can't keep relying on the defense to bail our ass out from playing a terrible game and getting the win that way. We have to step up and play better as a unit. And I wrote some stats down. They're 7th worst in passing yards, sitting at 1,860. They are 11th worst in rush yards at 1,004, which obviously we know Saquon last year had over 2,000 yards, all that stuff. But they do have the 8th most TDs as an offense. So what do you make of this Philadelphia Eagles offense that they're still a really good team? They have a tough test against the Detroit Lions where their defense is going to have to play really damn good to beat this Lions team. But what do you make of this Philadelphia Eagles offense right now?
What a great quote. But be careful, AJ. Somebody might come after you and think you're gambling because you're mentioning fantasy, even though he's not. You get my point, Segs. I love it. You could get me in fantasy, get rid of me. It's a classic because – but AJ was unhappy in Tennessee at one point too, was he not? Segs, it got him moved to Philly, was he not?
Yes.
Okay, so but here's what I know, and a couple fold here. Every receiver I ever met is always open, and they want to get theirs, and they want to get paid. But and I love that part of them. I do. And hell, Chris was always open. Chris Carter, the truth of the matter was, he pretty much was. So
yeah,
I get it. And I'm a fan of A.J. Brown because I think he's a good player. But receivers are also like DBs. If you're looking for them to hold something in, wrong group of dudes to ask to hold it in because they are letting it rip, which can be a good thing, but can also be a distraction that you're not airing in your locker room like I talk about. AJ's frustrated. Now think about this, Segs. If you think the NFL is not a fragile league, they're the Super Bowl champions, and he caught a touchdown in the Super Bowl. And we are 10 weeks into the season, and already you feel like there's some cracks in it, and they're winning again this year. They just come off a big win against the Green Bay Packers. I mean, they're winning. It doesn't look pretty, but they're winning. Imagine take away 4 wins from them. And with this offense, imagine what will be going on there. Yep. So I love receivers that speak it, but I also know this, and I've always said this about receivers, that I kind of mean it affectionately and joking, but I am serious about this. Receivers, I know this, and I love because Segs, show me a receiver who doesn't want the ball 20 times a game, and I'll show you a guy who's not going to be very good. Now, some choose to express it different, and I think there's ways to do that, and I understand AJ's frustration. But when they say, I got to get mine, If it was most of the time, if receivers get 10 catches for $160 and 2 touchdowns and you lose, they're going to get over it quicker than even if they won by 30 and had 3 catches for 27 yards and no touchdowns. They will still be mad and angry even in a win. Not all of them. You get my point. And I kind of mean talking out of both sides of my mouth, but they can be diva'd out and right. And I get it because listen, the ball comes to them 6, 7, 8, 10 times a game. And when it's not coming to them, and if you're losing, they automatically think the only reason you lost is because you didn't give me the ball, it's like a shooter. Dude, if you're not giving me the ball and put me on my spot and I ain't getting shots and we lose by 10, that's you. But they're winning for the most part. But it may end if they don't start picking this thing up with offensively. So I get his frustration, and I'm not a fence sitter on these things, but I do get the receivers' frustration, having been with some big-time playmakers, and I like their frustration. What I don't like, I always use Hines Ward in these examples. I never saw him complain or heard him complain about a catch. What he did was knock the piss out of you if he wasn't getting involved. He'd find a way to impact the game, even if he wasn't catching the ball. And I think that's where some fall short. AJ's a hell of a player, but it's a receiver, and if they're not getting theirs early and not getting theirs often, then you'll get some of this even when you're winning. See, getting theirs is getting their catches and then getting paid, and now that he's got a ring and he got paid, now he wants those numbers. I got to get mine, right? And I get it, but you can't ever place yourself a little higher than the team, even though I get why you do, because basically it's a pride thing saying, if you give me the ball more, we'll be a better offense. And he's not wrong there, no doubt. So whatever it is they're doing, but this is the reigning Super Bowl champ with a ring on their finger who is in first place and another chance to win a Super Bowl, and it's still fragile in that locker room. Think about that for a second and how fragile this sport is and how there's a lot of diva going on, and it's not just receivers, but it happens everywhere. But it takes a lot to please guys. And I'm an A.J. Brown fan, but I probably usually we like to let the fans tell them how bad they are offensively, and they'll speak for you because I think everybody would like A.J. Brown involved in the offense more.
Yeah, looking at his 4 years in Philadelphia, the first year after the trade, 88 catches, just shy of 1,500 yards, had 11 touchdowns, 88 yards per game he averaged. 2023, in 17 games, had 106 catches for 1,450 yards, 7 touchdowns, 85 yards per game. 2024, in 13 games, he had 67 catches for 1,079 yards, 7 touchdowns. That's 83 yards per game. Now, in 2025, in 8 games, he has 31 catches for 408 yards, 3 touchdowns, averaging just 51 yards per game. So
and you see
that drop off of 30 plus yards per game that he's not getting to the football.
Right. You know what else the receiver says too is when you see these numbers, they don't ever want you to think that you can win without them. Right. And who does?
You win by 30 and you got 2 for 27. It's like, man, we just won by 30 and I didn't do shit.
Yeah, you're shrinking or diminishing me as a player, even though you're not doing it on purpose. The statistics are saying you are, right? He's going to have to fight through it. He's still a valuable. Put it this way. If A.J. Brown averages 2 or 3 catches a game for the yards you put on there, whatever it is, takes the rest of the year, the Philadelphia Eagles won't win the Super Bowl. They're going to have to get Super Bowl production out of those guys like they did, he and Devontae, on a regular basis, if they're going to go. Because look at the production at the running back position, how people now have said Saquon's not going to beat us every week. They're doing a good job of that. So it's going to have to. And fortunately, in big games, they've been able, a couple of weeks ago on TV when Jalen hit a couple, he hit Devontae and A.J. Brown, both scored in that game as well. So it's going to happen. They're going to have to, because if not, you're going to run into the Rams. And because Nakua can miss a quarter, they're still putting their numbers up, dude. It doesn't matter. So, you want receivers to handle it at times a little different. I get his frustration, though. But when you're winning and there's still problems, it almost feels like it's a volcano ready to explode if they lose a game or 2 in a row, Segs, and especially if it's because offense hasn't shown up.
Well, and you look at it, last year things changed. They brought in Saquon Barkley. He went for over 2,000 yards rushing. That opens up your pass game a lot. Well, this year Saquon has 579 yards. Last year he averaged 125 yards per game rushing. This year he's only at 65. So, like you said, that's not a huge threat this year, which has taken their offense from, towards the top of the league last year to, I'd say, the bottom third of the league now, maybe a little above the bottom third in that second tier, but they're not as scary as they were last year. And that's partly Jalen Hurts too, because he is not a Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes type of thrower that he can sit back in the pocket and just beat you over and over and over and over again. He uses his legs. They use the run game, the play action game. That's how you get it. And if your play action game isn't a threat without Saquon Barkley not running well, then that hurts Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown.
The Eagles are not going to beat you throwing it 35 times a game from the hula hoop in the pocket. That's not their specialty. Right. Their specialty is bandwidth and doing a little bit of everything. They may not be the master of one thing, but they've got some Swiss Army knife team offensively. Jalen can beat you a couple ways, but what you don't want to do, this is not a team that'll beat you one dimension. Matter of fact, if they have to beat you one dimensionally, Segs, it'd be controlling the line of scrimmage and running it and getting Barkley involved in some of the passing game. But they're not a team that'll sustain 2-3 weeks in a row where they got to drop back, throw it 35 times. Kansas City can do that. Josh Allen can do that. Hell, Lamar's proven now to the point that he can drop back 30 times, throw it and beat you, even if you take his legs away a little bit. Stafford can do that. Hurts, I love. He's a winner and a great leader, but they are not built the way their offense is to drop back, straight drop back, put your foot in the ground and let it rip 35 times a game from one spot in the pocket where you're not changing the launch point.
Yeah, and that's where you look back and you say, like, man, what could a guy with like A.J. Brown, who is ultra talented, be with a guy like Matt Stafford? Be with a guy,
he'd be a 100-plus catch guy, and he'd have double digits touchdowns, and you'd never see him complain once, because just when you complain, Stafford will throw a bang post and hit you right in your friggin' head with it.
Right. So that's where I kind of get the wide receivers at some points being like, man, I'm seeing Puka Nacua catch, 15 balls a game.
Oh, yeah.
From Matt Stafford, and I get thrown 6 targets by Jalen Hurts because he's out running away,
And we're running hitch routes and slant routes on it where I get a catch and tackle, right? Yeah.
Or we're doing a fucking tush push 9 times a game.
So, I get his, listen, I'm laughing. I get his frustration. And it's like, come on, fella, you try to keep him engaged, Segs.
Right.
We had a receiver in my career in the NFL. I'll leave his name out, and I love him. He's a phenomenal human being, great player. But if we didn't get him involved early, I'm talking about like 3 attempts, catches early. I don't care. We would design jet sweeps, whatever it took to get him the ball in the first 3 minutes of a game.
Yeah.
Because when you turned it over to him and you gave it to him, dude played like a friggin' man possessed. I'm not talking, I know people say, was it Chris Carter? No, it wasn't Chris Carter. I played 10 years and I was on a few teams, so a lot of receivers over the course of it. But when you didn't, you could times be playing with 10 guys.
Yeah.
Not that he was a powder, but he just kind of went into the tank like, oh, they don't need me. And it was like, damn, well, of course we need you. And he was also one of those guys you say you need a game changed around, just stick him back there on special teams. And somehow, some way, his clutch gene will get us 40 yards on a return when we were desperate and desperately needed it. Even if he hadn't returned a kick in 4 weeks. Hey, we need you on this one. Bam, 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 boom. So, I love receivers, but at the same time, the biggest fights you'll ever get in as a quarterback is with those guys somewhere on the sidelines or in the locker room. It's a good argument, but it's a healthy one. And it's actual communication, which apparently in Atlanta, coaches and quarterbacks don't seem to want to do that.
Right. No, yeah, you don't communicate. That does nothing for your young, second-year quarterbacks. Speaking of wide receivers, we had a wide receiver come out and, apologize for something. And here's the video.
Address the elephant in the room, after your touchdown. Nice play, by the way. Nice, drop step or cut up field slice. But you had a touchdown celebration. Talk about it.
Yeah, so first of all, if I offended anyone, I do apologize. I did not mean to offend anyone. It was just, we're having fun. If any president was at that game, if they had a dance, I would have done it. Had nothing to do with who the president was. But even after the game, I found out, someone told me that was the first game that a president has been to in over 40 years. So first regular season game, which is crazy. So we were just having fun doing the dance. It was, nothing more, nothing less. Just quick shimmy, whatever you call it.
A little fun, nothing serious, nothing political, just
Right.
doing a little dance.
Right. You want my head to explode on this show. Atlanta Falcons not communicating with their quarterback. We got an AD who's on the committee and the chair of the committee for the college football playoff. Talk about a conflict of interest, but we have that every year. And then we get a receiver who's pissed off. They're winning, but he can't get the ball. And now you've got me to this.
And you just let off a show. Was it yesterday or Monday?
Yesterday.
Or Tuesday. Yesterday, where you said, quit apologizing. And then what is Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Yeah, apologizing for interviewing the president of the United States like Pat did. He didn't, it's the president of the United States, and Pat handled it perfectly. But you shouldn't have to even think about explaining it. That guy right there, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and yes, I'm a Trojan, and yes, he's a Trojan. That affinity aside, I think he's one of the best dudes in the league. And I know we're always going to mention Jefferson and Puka and Jamar Chase. That dude's in the team photo. He's your starting 5 at wide receiver. If you're lining up 5 in an NBA basketball game and it's all wide receivers, that cat right there is in the talk because he'll go block you. He'll catch in traffic. He'll get by you deep. He's not big. When's the last time you heard him bitch and complain about a target? It doesn't happen. Rare. That dude is all about team and winning. He's been like that forever. Now, I love him. And it's sad that he has to feel like society because obviously he apologized. You want to know why, Sakes? Because a bunch of people ripped his ass on social media because he did the little Trump dance shimmy. And just like I said to you the other day, if President Obama calls and says, Sean, I want to shoot jumpers at a gym, I'd like to invite you. He's not, I'm there today. And I did not vote for him. Okay. And that's okay. But I respect the office and I respect some of the things that he did as a president. I don't agree with everything he did or Trump or any of them. I never have. Even Reagan, who put more money in people's pockets in the world. There are things about a president that hit you harder than it may hit somebody else, good or bad. That's okay. That's how democracy was set up, and free speech, and to be able to show how you feel. First time in 40 years a president showed up to a regular season game. 1. 2 is it's the president of the United States. If Trump calls and asks me to play golf, you'll never get an apology for me. I'm taking the day off. I'm going to play, and I'm begging him for 3 rounds, let alone 1.
Yeah.
The fact that he did a dance, the sitting president of the United States, and social media is so whacked out and nut jobbish that we have to, and I don't care if you're a Republican, this has zero to do with your affiliation, but obviously because it's Trump, you automatically assume some liberals called up that are whack jobs, so out of this world nuts, they should be living at the bottom of the ocean with SpongeBob SquarePants and doggone Patrick, and at least those guys will be breathing, that you're so stupid that you have to choose this to go after a guy because he did a little dance with the president. It'd be like, I don't know, Segs, a mic is in front of you and you're having karaoke night and Quincy Jones was in the audience when he was alive and he's there and all of a sudden you know your buddy's been telling you, dude, you can sing, you get 3 minutes in front of him and he says, yeah, go up and grab the mic, and you don't grab it. Or you do grab it and some other producer, people are ripping you because what are you doing singing in front of Quincy Jones? You're not Motown. Mm-hmm. Well, I get to sing in front of Quincy Jones. I get his ear for a second. Or a quarterback coach only sees the guy. I tell my quarterbacks this all the time. What would you do if even a team you didn't want to play for, that coach is standing over here and you get 5 minutes that he's going to watch you throw, and that's the only time you're going to get? Well, I'd be buttoned up and I'd do everything right. Well, then you should be doing everything right 95% of the time anyway, or trying to. In this case, he did a dance. I didn't see anything on there, no sign, no nothing that said, yeah, I voted for this guy. He did a dance. So what? I'd rather have that than somebody have to put his hand on top of somebody's head like some other president in the Oval Office. But hey, crap happens. And I want to have a beer with that guy too, because I want to hear all his experiences in that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So point being is, why in the world are we apologizing to these trolls who think you owe them an explanation or validation or approval from their ass on either side by making a decision because the president, the sitting president of the United States, you did a little dance? What, did it change Congress? Did it end the did it end the SNAP benefits? Did it change the world? Was it China and Trump sitting down and he did it in front? No, it was a simple football game, couple second celebration with the sitting presidents in the United States. People out there are out of their mind, dude. That we are literally having to have these conversations with the sitting president. But I promise you this, if he walked like Joe Biden, nobody would have said a word.
Right.
Why is a little dance? Like, he didn't go up there and jump, do the Lambeau leap into President Trump's lap in Detroit. The dude simply did a shimmy.
What if he?
This is what we got to bitch and complain about.
What if he pointed to
I already know
Trump
where you're going.
and then just kind of just like wandered off the field the wrong way, like Joe Biden would do off stage?
We'd all laugh, but you know what? You know what the whack jobs would say?
Oh,
how dare him make fun of a man?
Him, yeah.
Oh, how dare him make fun of me? He must have voted for Trump. How dare him make fun of a man who was the sitting president for 4 years and may have dementia? But then you'll go to the people that were in office with Biden, and they'll swear to you, "Oh no, he was dysfunctional, no dementia." Right? Okay, either way, but he'd get ripped for one, and then they lambast him for you can't make, and you probably shouldn't make fun of dementia, no question about it. But it's okay to dance because a lot comedians make fun of people all the time.
Yeah.
So if you danced like somebody, I mean, so if he'd done the moonwalk, should we say, well, Michael Jackson's dead, you shouldn't be emulating the moonwalk?
Yeah.
I mean, what? The guy simply did it. The fact that bothers me is that Amon-Ra St. Brown literally had to go on a podcast and apologize. I ain't apologizing for squat. I'm begging to play golf. I ain't never been inside the White House. I've been out in front of it. I'd love it. And I'll do a dance. As a matter of fact, I'll do the dance when I make a birdie putt because Segs, birdie putts don't come often for me.
I was going to say, so you will never do the dance.
Dude, if they said, Sean, do the dance on a 3-putt, hell, we wouldn't get any golf in.
You'd never
I'd be
stop.
3-putting my ass off. That's exactly right. No doubt. Stupid. Don't apologize. He's not stupid. The fact that he feels the need to have to do that is stupid.
I challenge
I feel bad
an
for him.
NFL offense. You know, I hope one of them's watching or they see this message. I challenge you to, you score a touchdown, get people like sitting down, like behind the podium, have someone stand and then just turn and just look both ways and then just kind of wander off.
That way. But I'm fully functional, Segs.
And then you got to fall down the stairs at the end.
No, come up this way. No, I'm exit stage left. Oh, he's stage right. Listen, and you know what? I'd go have coffee with Joe Biden too, dude.
Oh my God.
And try to help him any way I could. The hatred and anger, the fact that we literally are apologizing, and God bless Amon-Ra St. Brown. I wish he didn't feel like he had to do that.
Yeah.
God bless the people who put enough pressure on him. Just like those people who you blow a save and they're giving you death threats because of their fantasy bet or their bet. It's just people are out of their ever-loving mind. Amon-Ra, if it was you, I go now go do something that somebody else would have done. I don't know, a former president that had a habit. Go do that so you can do the makeup call. I feel bad for him that he'd have to do it. And anybody that has that on their mind, football's tough enough without having to worry about a fan mad at you because you did the Trump dance. He ain't the only one. We see a lot of people doing it. Golf courses all over the place. So you know what? You folks that are complaining about it, get over it. It's not that important.
All right, to end the show, our bet of the day. We got Thursday Night Football. Jets at Patriots. Patriots minus 12.5. 42.5 is the over under. Which way you leaning, Sean?
31-7. Take the under.
Woo! Wow. Okay. I actually think the Jets keep it around 10. So I'm going to take the Jets plus the points.
Where are they getting the score? Are they going to score from, Sigs? The locker room? How are they scoring? Are they going to play you guys? Hey, you want a fair fight? Have the Patriots show up with 7 guys tonight.
Hopefully Breece Hall, because if he doesn't score 3 touchdowns tonight for me in fantasy, then I'm going to hate him and I'm going to yell at him on Twitter. And
this is a fantasy pick for you instead of a realistic pick. Oh, okay, I got you. This isn't real deep because I'll damn well tell you if you had $100,000 you had to bet and fantasy wasn't involved, there's no damn way you're picking the Jets to get inside the number. And you and I, if you were forced to bet it, but you are trying to throw it out into the atmosphere so you could manifest the Jets that Breece Hall, because the only way they're close is if Breece Hall plays decent football, right? Yeah.
But if they lose and Breece Hall doesn't do anything, then I'm gonna berate him on Twitter, and then he has to come out and apologize to me tomorrow.
Oh yeah. And Segs, just send a death threat too, because that's logical with the way these idiots do stuff now. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Jets.
Yeah,
I'll say
if they score 21 points, Segs, I'll listen. You can take over my 9-2 or 8-2 fantasy team if you want. They ain't
I'll
scoring
say
21 points.
21-10. So take the under 21-10 inside the number. Pat
And
still
Sigs
wins.
gets 8 touchdowns, 4 of them called back, but gets 3 of them, and then another one called back because offside. So, well, if they can't, if it's 21-10, Brees Hall.
Well, yeah.
Would not done
So
what
then
you
I'm
want.
berating Brees Hall on the
or the coordinator for not calling the
Yes.
right player.
And then
Vince
everybody
said
must
you need a
apologize.
45-42 game. Take
Yeah,
the
I'll take
over
that.
and Brees Hall scores 5 times. There you go.
All right, yeah. So I'll take the
Your
over.
fantasy team
and
is
the Jets.
screwed. I got news for you
Yes.
tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
As always. As always. All right, that'll do it for today's show. Again, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us. Our YouTube's at Unpaved Sean Salisbury. On X, you can follow us at Sean Unfiltered, at Adam G. Sager, at Unpaved on Rumble. Thanks to Triple E, thanks to Laura, thanks to Bailey, everybody behind the scenes. Thanks to all of our viewers and listeners. And thanks to you, Sean.
And
We will be
Dr.
back.
J, yeah, thank you, Segs. Real quick, Dr.
Yeah.
J asked, who's quarterbacking the Jets tonight? Is it Fields?
We have no idea.
I don't even know exactly.
That fireman guy that wears the fireman
Yeah.
helmet, he's gets the chance tonight.
Might have a little success. You never know. Just protect the football. But yeah, great. Segs, great stuff. And good luck with your fantasy team tonight, brother.
Yeah.
You're going to need it.
I need it. Tomorrow, we got a lot, like we talked about it yesterday. We got a ton of football to talk. A lot of good NFL games. And then we got 4 really big college football games that have playoff implications this weekend. So we'll start talking. We'll get into all of those tomorrow and anything that is breaking. And we'll talk about the next person to apologize for something that they don't need to apologize about.
You know what I apologize for, Segs, right now? Not a damn thing. Okay.
Well, you should apologize for your singing because people have been
Dude.
calling.
You know what?
My phone hasn't stopped.
You find me one comment that you've seen on social media that says you can't sing. Now, if they did, that's fine. And I'm not saying I'm a great singer. Yeah, other than your dumbass, you've been telling me that for 10 years, okay? I could have won the voice and you'd be saying, screw him. Yet then I call you up and say, Segs, we're going to party in Nashville for the win.
All right,
You're like,
let's go.
I'm all in. Sean, way to sing, but you still suck, right?
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
how it works.
see, so hey, I'm just trying to give the people what they want, Segs. Stay tuned. It ain't the last cut I'm gonna sing. Yeah.
The liberals
Yeah.
love you, Sean.
Yeah, don't
The
go all
liberals
liberal
love
on me
your
because
singing.
you can't stand my cunt.
I'm not liberal. The liberals love you. All right, we'll be back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Unpaved, Sean Salisbury here for bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.